So welcome everybody. My name's Lisa and I am the pastor at Coronado Community United Methodist Church. I am one of your hosts for our trip to Israel in March. We have 3 clergy going on our trip with us. Reverend Linda Tice from Trinity Sarasota will also be going with us. This will be her first trip. And Reverend BJ Foster from Covenant United Methodist Church in Port Orange is also going. I think this is her 5th trip. And so we are in great hands with lots of experience, plus the great folks from Educational Opportunities that are going with us as well. So we're going to start this evening with a quick round of introductions. We've got 31 folks that are going with us to Israel. And one of the great things is getting to meet new people. So I'm just going to call out your name that is on the little, your little name thing on your box. And I would invite you to introduce yourself, where you're currently living, and what you are most excited about on this particular trip. And so Bill, we have Bill and we have iPad Bill. So we're going to start with plain Bill. So Bill, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, name's Bill Anderson, live in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, a member of Coronado Community United Methodist Church. And I'm just excited to be traveling overseas for the first time in a long time. So, and it'd be nice to go and see where everything took place, biblical. And really looking forward to it.
Fantastic. I would encourage you to go ahead and mute yourself. Does everybody know how to do that? Unless you're speaking. And so let's have iPad Bill next.
We're Bill and Diane Kirkhoff. We're from Plainfield, Indiana. And this is our second trip with EO. We did Paul's missionary journeys, Athens, Greece, Rome, the Mediterranean. And so just kind of looking forward to doing that again. And it's kind of a lifelong dream. We've always wanted to go to Holy Land, and it's the opportunity to do so.
Fantastic. Welcome. Anne, let's have you next.
I'm Ann Dorn, and I live in Sarasota from Trinity United Methodist. Hello, Pastor Lisa. And this is my second trip. I'm very excited. I went a year ago before COVID with Pastor Lisa, and it's just a wonderful experience. And it's just very moving and inspirational. And I'm really, really excited about going again.
Fantastic. Joanne.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm Joanne Rawl, and I have been on it will be my 3rd trip along with Lisa and my daughter, Kristen, who's in bed because she gets up at 2:30 in the morning, and it will be her 2nd trip, and we are looking forward to it. I also went on that Paul's journey to Greece and Turkey back a few years, and I'm excited. I'm going to go again.
Fantastic. All righty, Virginia Lynn.
Hi, everyone. I'm Virginia, and I have been on an earlier Zoom call, so I may have met some of you back then. I'm one of the outliers. I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm a college friend of Reverend Linda's, and actually, I think it's her niece, Laura Ellis, also outside of Pittsburgh, will be traveling with me from the leg of Pittsburgh to JFK. Her name's Laura Ellis, and she's going as well. And I've always wanted to go to Israel. And when Linda mentioned it, when I was visiting her earlier this year, I thought, hey, why not? So I'm excited to go.
Fantastic. Donna.
Hi, I'm Donna Laval, and I'm a member of the Coronado Community United Methodist Church. I'm one of our congregational care ministers, and this will be my first trip to the Holy Land and something I've looked forward to doing for years and years.
Wonderful. Susie.
Hi, I'm Susie Callum. My husband Dave is also going. He's wandering around the house, kind of helping clean up after having grandkids and kids over today. I have just always wanted to see the places that are mentioned in the Bible, to see what it's really like, you know, where Jesus walked, and same kind of reasons for as everybody else. And my husband never wanted to go, and all of a sudden decided that he would go. So what can I say? I'm just glad he's coming with me. And
Fantastic.
we're from the south side of Indianapolis.
Wonderful. Susie, we have my husband Ed and I have a very similar story. I wanted to go for a long time, and Ed was hesitant. And then one day he's like, let's go. And so very similar story. Ed will be on the trip as well. So,
Good.
so he's taking care of the dogs right now. Bob Williams.
Can you hear me?
I can.
I am in my truck, but I'm also from New Smyrna Beach, and I'm a member at Coronado, and I really have, am generally not totally into travel, but I've been blessed. My girlfriend Janet has encouraged me, and I've, I'm really just looking forward to a Holy Land experience, and I'm looking forward to meet everyone. So, and I'm grateful for Pastor Lisa for leading this group. So thank you very much.
I'm grateful you're coming. Janet, let's hear from you.
Hi, my name is Janet Fisher. I just moved to Ponce Inlet 3 months ago. And I'm dating Bob Williams, and I'm traveled a lot, but not to Israel. And it was but I've always wanted to. And so when Bob was talking about this trip, I thought, oh, here we go. And he told me he's not into traveling anymore. He's not going anywhere. And I thought, well, okay, I guess I'll be staying home. But apparently, since I'm willing to go, he's also willing to go. I'm just really looking forward to it, as everybody else said, that experience of being able to visit places that Jesus walked it's got to be absolutely phenomenal. And this is also my first trip.
Wonderful. Jeannie.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Henkin. I'm from Coronado Community United Methodist Church. I went to Israel a couple of years ago, and I loved it, and it was so spiritually rewarding. But when it came up again with Pastor Lisa, I just thought, I need to do this again. Once wasn't enough. I long to see the Sea of Galilee again. So I'm just really looking forward to the whole experience again.
Wonderful. Yeah, Sea of Galilee is one of my favorite places in the whole wide world. So I very much relate to you saying you want to see it again. Would you all join me in welcoming Reverend Linda Tice, who was just able to pop in for a very short time tonight. And so everybody say hi to Linda.
Linda, we love you.
Thank you. I'm so sorry I can't be here the whole time. I double booked myself and couldn't get out of it. So I just wanted to pop in and say hello to everybody.
I'm so glad you did, Linda.
I'm looking forward to this. The more Lisa and BJ and I talk about it, the more excited I get. It's turning into all the pieces are coming together, and the itinerary is great, and I'm just looking forward to it.
Thank you. I appreciate you popping in. I know your night's busy, so thanks.
I'll stay a few minutes and then I'll slide out.
I understand. I'm glad that you're looking forward to being in Israel. And what the three of us hope is that in the months between now and when we leave, that we can help you feel prepared for the trip. We can help you feel prepared spiritually for the trip. We can help you feel prepared practically for the trip. That you know you've got great support as we head over to Israel. And so I've got a couple of questions for you tonight, and I am glad to answer questions tonight as best I can. So the first question I have is anyone still needing a roommate who wants a roommate? We have the possibility of adding a few more people to the trip. And so Bill is still looking for a roommate. So if you know of a guy who is looking for a roommate, Bill is also looking for a roommate. So that's great. I think we might also have a lady who is looking for a roommate who just doesn't happen to be on the call tonight. So I wanted to let you know that. We do have a few more spots. The last day to register is November 16th. After November 16th, it gets really, we can't make guarantees. We can't make guarantees on the, there will be additional fees after November 16th. And you might not be on the same flight over with us. You might be on a different flight. Sometimes they can't even guarantee the same hotel. You'll be in the area, of course, but they can't even guarantee the same hotel. So that's a pretty hard deadline. If you know of somebody else who's thinking about wanting to register, I would encourage they register earlier than that, just for peace of mind. But we could probably take 8 to 10 more folk comfortably. And so I wanted to let you know about that deadline. The other question is anyone considering doing the extensions? There are a couple of extensions mentioned in your brochure. So one is Petra and the Dead Sea, so that would be Egypt. There's also a Nile cruise, which is an extension of the trip. So is anyone thinking about the extensions? I'm getting a no from Susie. Okay.
And Laura, there's one Laura had for the Petra.
Right.
She had signed up for that one.
Sure. So what happens when it's not uncommon that there's only a few folk that want to do the extensions. That happens all the time. So what EO will do is they will hook those persons up with other persons who want to do the extensions. And so if you're thinking about an extension and you would like to do an extension, you can just call EO and add the extension on. Okay. So we wanted to let you know that. The other question I have is, what do you feel like you're needing the most help with in order to feel confident about going on this trip in March?
I guess I'd like to know or be kept up to date on what COVID's like over there.
Sure. Sure. Absolutely.
And I'd like to know what the weather will be so I pack appropriately.
Right. Yeah. Usually in March, it's cold. We're in their winter time. So January and February are their rainy season. And it makes a big difference going in January or February as opposed to March, though we are in the very beginning of March. So we're hoping for Chamber of Commerce weather, which would be lovely, cool and clear and all of that. If it rains on our trip, we'll be ready for rain. We can send you a packing list, which will help you with your packing. We'll check the weather, of course, the closer we get, but plan on lots of layers. because what will happen is it'll be cold in the morning, it'll heat up during the day, and then before we get back, the weather will start getting colder again. Also, when we head to like Bethlehem and Jerusalem are in the mountains, and Galilee is down more at sea level. So, so that will make a difference when we head into, we start in Bethlehem, go to Galilee, come back to Jerusalem. So the altitude will add a little coolness into our day.
So Lisa, when you say cool, is that Indiana cool or Florida cool? Like 30 or 60?
That is a fantastic question. That is a fantastic question. Right. I'm a Florida girl, so it, you know, it will not, it won't snow.
Okay, that's a good
won't-
start.
But it could get down in the 40s. It could, you know,
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna bring a coat. And, but the nice thing to do is to just layer so that as the day goes on, you can take layers off and put layers back on as you need it. The bus is, you can leave things in the bus when you go to a site. So let's say you start the day with a, you know, with a good coat on, and by the second stop of the day, you don't need that big coat anymore. And by the third stop of the day, you might, you know, take off a sweater that you've got on, and then, you know, you can leave them in the bus and they're absolutely fine. The bus driver stays with the bus. So, so your belongings on the bus are fine. Yeah. Bye-bye, Linda. Okay, so we want to know about COVID. We want to know about the weather. Okay, what else would be helpful?
I know that Israel, they're like pushing, or a lot of people are getting that third booster shot. And I'm not of age to qualify for that yet, but is it likely that they would be requiring that anybody entering the country have that third booster shot?
That's a great question, and we just don't know the answer to that yet. You know, there are several of us.
Something to watch out for, I
Yeah,
guess.
there's several of us not old enough to get that booster, and so we'll know closer. We'll know closer.
What kind of money exchange do they have? What, I mean, or do you use credit cards? What do you do as far as paying for stuff over there?
Fantastic question. Let's talk money. You can use credit cards in Israel. You can use Visa. You can use MasterCard. You can't use American Express. You can't use Discover. And you can't use traveler's checks. You can also use American cash, and you can use shekels. That's the Israeli money. So a lot of times, what I encourage folks to do is take a credit card with you. Let the credit card company know you're headed to Israel. That way, there's not a problem, and have, you know, have a good size limit on it. The reason that I say that is, I mean, if you want to, you know, like make a big purchase, that's totally up to you. But the reason I say that is if you have a medical emergency in Israel, you can use that credit card to pay for your medical bill. I'm hoping that you got a trip insurance. Joanne is nodding her head.
I needed that credit card.
Right. Joanne is nodding her head because she had a medical emergency in Israel on our first trip. And so she had trip insurance, which I hope you will get. You really need the trip insurance. But the trip insurance reimburses you. And so you have to pay for your medical situation up front, and then you get reimbursed. The medical insurance, the trip insurance is spectacular. It is spectacular. For our beloved Joanne, they provided a person to travel with her from Israel all the way to her home hospital in Sarasota. She,
First class.
yep, and they upgraded her ticket, and she had to travel at a different time than the rest of the group because she wasn't ready to travel yet. And they just did a spectacular job. So you definitely want the trip insurance. Cash wise, American cash wise, you'll want smaller bills, 5s, 10s, those kinds of things, because you can use them with street vendors. You can pay, like say you see a pretty scarf from a street vendor, you can pay in American dollars. The street vendors will not have credit card capability. You can also use shekels. Shekels are great to have some shekels with you as well. Is the exchange place still in the same place in Sarasota, in that little mall in Sarasota? Okay, so that's the best place in Sarasota. I don't know where to get the exchange rate, the exchange in the New Smyrna Beach area, but BJ will know, and because she's in Port Orange, and you may want to just try to find a place that is not the airport. The airport will hike up the fees for your exchange rate. So yeah, the amount that you bring with you is up to you. Later, when we get closer to the trip, we'll talk about some things that you will need cash for on the trip. Your gratuities are covered for the folks helping us at the hotel, and the meals that we have at the hotel, breakfast and dinner, those kinds of gratuities are covered. But often folks want to tip our guide and our bus driver. And so when we get closer to the trip, we'll talk about what the appropriate tip would be if you would like to participate in that. That is an optional thing. Maybe you want water. The bus drivers usually have bottled water for $1 a bottle. And it's easier than carrying around your own bottle. So you may want to participate in that. Those kind of little things we'll talk about when we get a little closer. Great question. Fantastic. Bill?
Can I switch it to COVID?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You said we need to get a test before we leave the US.
Yes.
And did you recommend doing it a week before we leave?
I think they're going to want your test within like 3 days before you fly. That's the last kind of date that I heard.
72 hours.
Yeah. So, and again, we will stay up to date on that and you will know. So what will happen is, in order to get on the plane to Israel, you will need to show your passport. So hopefully everybody has a passport with at least 6 months in addition past our return date. So April, May, June, July, August, September. So you need like an October or later expiration date on your passport of 22. Passport, your little vaccine card. So you'll need to show that as well. You'll need to show your negative test results for COVID within 72 hours. You'll have taken it within 72 hours. Once we get to Israel, and they will test us at the hotel again. They'll test us again. EO is covering that. That's part of your trip. And before we go back to the United States, we will get tested again. and EO is covering that. So we'll have like 3 COVID tests, boom, 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 kind of right in a row for the trip. Great question, Bill. What else would be helpful? COVID, weather, money. We can talk shopping. We can talk Bible. What would you like?
For the people who've been before, did you feel secure? Did you feel safe?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
safe, yep.
no
Yeah.
problem at all.
Yeah. The that was one of the reasons why my husband was hesitant. Ed is retired military and has spent lots of time in sandy places. And he's like, nope, we are not going to the Middle East. And once we were there, he loved it and we felt very secure. My second trip, Ed did not come with me. There was a big group of us, but he felt comfortable enough to send me by without him. So the layers of support that we have through educational opportunities is wonderful. You have, here comes Kay. You have a group of folk here in Florida that are arranging all of our travel and all of that good stuff. Then there will be folk in Israel to meet us at the airport. There will be the bus that will take us everywhere. There will be the guide that will take us everywhere. Every hotel we stop in, there will be folks from EO at the hotel to help us in case there's anything we need. It works beautifully. Great question. Hey, Kay, welcome.
Sorry, I'm late.
No worries. Hey, Donna, what's your question?
How much walking will be involved with this trip?
There is a good amount of walking. You're going to do at least 3 miles a day walking. There's a lot of standing. You need to be prepared for stairs. You need to be prepared for inclines, uneven surfaces. So a lot of times they talk about being fit to travel. And so like being able to get on and off the bus. And those kinds of things. So I need to do a little walking to get ready.
Thank
Donna,
you.
did you have a follow-up question?
No, thank you.
Okay. You'll also want a great pair of walking shoes. Really, really good pair of walking shoes. This is a casual, very, very casual trip. Most of the time, we're going to be in jeans or, some folks like wearing like hiking type pants or khaki pants or something like that. I have a pair of shoes from the Columbia outlet that are like a hiking style tennis shoe, something that is slip resistant, something with a good grip on the bottom. I like a shoe that's water resistant as well in case, we get caught in the rain. I don't like wet feet, those kinds of things. And so if you need recommendations on shoes, we can help you with that. And you want to make sure the shoes are well broken in. You don't want to break in a pair of shoes on this trip. Also, since we're talking about shoes, if you are planning to go into the Dead Sea, you'll have a chance if you want to go float around in the Dead Sea. Or if if you want to reaffirm your baptismal vows, if you want to, be immersed in the Jordan River, you will want water shoes or some kind of shoe that you can wear going into the water. You'll need that. You'll need those. Our water day is actually our first touring day. So, and our water day, we're doing the Dead Sea and the baptismal spot near Jericho in the same day. So all the wet stuff happens in the same day. You do not have to go into the Dead Sea if you don't want to. You do not have to get wet, be immersed in the Jordan if you don't want to. That would be another thing that would be an additional cost if you want to do the reaffirm your baptism and get dunked. That's an additional cost. They give you like a little robe to wear, and so you'll need clothes you don't mind getting wet if you would like to do either of those activities. Great questions. What else can we answer?
I had an additional question about the clothing. The leggings, like what you might get at Lululemon or something, are those appropriate, or is there a kind of a modesty thing? For walking around?
I'm so glad you asked that. There is a modesty thing. So super tight fitting, like athletic type clothes is really not recommended for the trip.
Okay. What about shawls or something to cover your shoulders if you go into church? Yes, I would encourage you to have, and it could be the scarf you're already wearing because it's cold. You don't have to have a special scarf. And some religious sites require them and some don't. And it may just be something, if you see a bunch of ladies who don't have their head covered, but you decide you want to have your head covered, no, that'll be fine. Like when we go to the Western Wall at the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, that's always a lovely place to have a head covering for. Some of the churches, if we're going to spend some time in prayer, it's nice. What the three of us are going to tell you is what is the most respectful way to be a guest in Israel. And so what is most respectful is to have a head covering ready, to wear modest clothes with your chest covered, your shoulders covered, your knees covered, no clothing with like a t-shirt with like words or graphics on it. No camouflage. That's really important. No camouflage clothing. Simple, simple clothing is going to be the most respectful. If you've got a jacket with like a little tiny logo on it, you can wear your jacket. It's the big stuff. Yeah. Great question. So is anybody thinking about going in the Jordan, renewing their baptismal vows? Anybody thinking about it? Maybe give you a little time to think about it. How cold is it?
It's chilly. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's, you'll go, whoo, it's brisk, but it's not bad. Anything else you'd like to talk about tonight? Okay, so if you come up with a question, you can always email one of the three of us and we will be glad to answer your question or connect you to the person that can answer your question. If you would put down on your calendars November 17th, we will be having another Zoom meeting. And we'll do another meet and greet because we hope we'll have more folks on the call. We'll talk about devotions in Israel. And if you would like to do one of the devotions, you can sign up to do one of the devotions. And we'll talk about some of the spiritual prep that we will be doing for the trip. But again,
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead,
I have
Jeannie.
a question. It's Jeannie. What do you mean we could do one of the devotions? What does that mean?
What does that mean is that you would know what site we would be at. So let's say, Jeannie, you decide you'd like to do the devotion on the Mount of the Beatitudes, where the Sermon on the Mount happened nearby. You would know that ahead of time and you would provide a short devotion based on, could be based on the Beatitudes or the Sermon on the Mount.
Okay, thank you.
You are very welcome. And if you need a little help with that, we're glad to help with that too. Okay.
I figured as much.
Yeah, but y'all are great. Y'all are great. I have no doubt that you can do a wonderful devotion. So, so I am so glad that you spent a little time with us tonight. And again, if you need anything, please reach out. You are never a bother. We're so glad that you're going on this trip with us. And we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Thank you very much.
I have a
Thank
question.
you.
Sure, go ahead,
Question.
Kay.
How do I get the recording since I started late on the meeting?
Sure. So I'll send out a link to anybody who would like the recording.
Okay, Dave and I both would.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
You look great.